shooting Monday afternoon here in Byron, Wyoming, left an entire community of 600 grieving. It's an event that their mayor says is one of the most tragic things to ever come out of this small community.
Hope and pray that the family can endure and hopefully brighter days ahead.
It was here on the 200th block of Shoshone Avenue where the unimaginable took place. It was approximately 1:30 in the afternoon Monday when 32-year-old Tranielle Harshman called 911 reporting that her 4 children had been shot and were likely dead. On that 911 call, Harshman said 2 of her kids, both 2 years old, were upstairs in their cribs, and the other 2 children were downstairs in their bedroom. Then Harshman said she would shoot herself.
So when you're in a small community like this, you know everyone, you rub shoulders with everyone, and it's just devastating.
First responders arrived and found 2 of the kids, a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, still alive. But the 2-year-old passed away a short time later. The 7-year-old is now in a Salt Lake City hospital, sedated and receiving care. The Bighorn County Sheriff's Office confirmed that the mother died of her wounds Tuesday afternoon. The tragedy has left the town of Byron grieving. Mayor Alan Clark says his heart goes out to the family and first responders involved.
I don't want to dwell on what's happened. We want to dwell on what's next.
One of Tranielle's former classmates, Sage Myers, says the event was out of character.
Tranielle was a grade ahead of me, and we partied a lot together, and she was just a great person, so nice to everybody. Man, I can't explain how there was no cracks, there was no dings, there's no chips to be seen.
Out of character is another trait described by one of Tranielle's friends, Brianna Baker, who left MTN a statement saying, quote, "Everything can change in an instant. Never allow yourself to think it couldn't be me. She was sweet, loving, and funny. Use this as an opportunity to show compassion and togetherness." It's a tragic loss with many questions still unanswered.
This is just absolutely horrible. Shocking news, right? You hear this small town, Byron, Wyoming, 600 people, or if you see back in 2023, only listed just actually under 600 people, very small community. And you hear the different people speaking to the media that they knew this mother, Tranielle Harshman, 32 years old. You heard it, shot her 4 children before turning the weapon on herself. And she called 911, telling them what had happened and what she was about to do to herself as well. And they spoke with her, tried to attempt to get her to not do it or just hold on, and pled with her. And at the end of the day, the call was disconnected. She let them know where she would be, what room. And this is just like, wow, so horrible. How could someone do this? Why would someone do this? Kill their own family. The mother in this way is just unbelievable in the worst way. Now, if you see the police or sheriff's press release, they speak about it all, the 911 call and everything else. And because of the call and the call being disconnected, when first responders arrived, they had to clear the house tactical, basically, from my understanding what that means, come in, weapons out, acting as if there was an active shooter, because they didn't know. The mom had hung up the phone, said that she was going to do the same thing to herself, but as far as what they knew, what they could go on firsthand at that time was that the kids had been harmed. And, so they had to treat it like the mother could still be in there as an active shooter. And at the end of the day, she wasn't. She did exactly what she said she was going to do to herself as well. But it's just again, this is one of the most horrible things you could just hear. But on top of it all, because they had to approach the situation from a tactical aspect, that was time that could have been given to immediately getting there to perform life-saving measures and do what they had to do to try to save the youth. As from my understanding, there was 4 kids, all females, 2 2-year-olds, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. When they arrived, one of the 2-year-olds and the 9-year-old were already deceased. I hate even saying it, but GSWs to the head. It's just, I can't even believe this. I mean, everyone knows with all this crime news and stuff like that that you see out there, there's horrible things that are in the news all the time, but just the mother doing this. Not that you expect any parent to do this, but just hearing this story is like, what, and then just hearing everyone in this small community, once again, that knew her, they just seem to be in total disbelief, like never for a fraction of a second could even think of this mother, once again, 32-year-old Tranielle Harshman, to do something like this. But one of the other 2-year-olds and the 7-year-old, it seems reportedly were alive, and they tried to, and the mother as well, and they tried to perform life-saving measures. And at the end of the day, in the hospital now is the 7-year-old still fighting for her life. There's an update we'll get to about her, the 2-year-old. So sad. The other 2-year-old also passed away. You see people reacting in many ways online. You hear the reactions from the people in the community, the reactions from people online seeing this are saying everything from, sane people do not do stuff like this. What does it say? Sane people don't unalive other people, especially their own kids. It is very apparent that she was mentally ill, but why should any of my sympathy go towards someone who SHOT for kids? Because she was mentally ill just like every other KILLER. And some people are saying postpartum. I don't know, the 2 years old, wouldn't that be out of the woods of the whole postpartum phase or whatever? I don't know. Everyone comment your thoughts on all this. But if you or someone is having mental problems or whatever, it's nothing to play with. You got to get out there and get help, but this is still horrific. And I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but for a mother to do this, mental problems or not, it's just sickening and pure evil. Plain and simple, in my opinion. But you're going to hear a little more from the fathers, as there's 2 different fathers. And but first, here is one of the deputies who arrived. 17 years being a deputy and never seen anything like this.
Deputy Carrie Angel was one of the first to enter the Harshman home shortly after the 911 call Monday. What she describes is something no one could have imagined in the small town.
17 years. 17 years at the sheriff's office and working crime scenes, and you don't ever expect anything like this.
A small town shattered in an instant.
We're worried for the living and we're mourning for the dead at the same time.
Sheriff's Deputy Angel was a few blocks away from the Harshman home when she got the call, never anticipating the scene she would walk into.
We entered into the home. Clearing the home, I went back to the one little girl who was actually still alive and administered first aid to her. I held her, stood there with her till EMS arrived and took her and continued first aid.
5 total people with gunshot wounds, 4 of them young girls, all under 10 years old.
This could have been any town USA. It happened to be Byron's turn. Unfortunately, this could have been any family.
32-year-old Tranielle Harshman shot her 4 daughters before turning the gun to herself.
I would encourage people to be very careful before they label this situation, as horrible as it is and as tragic as it is.
And as the community comes to grips with the loss and many questions still remain, Bighorn County Sheriff Kenneth Blackburn urges compassion.
We don't know the states of mind and what all goes into this. I think it's important we look at mental health and a lot of the other circumstances. I think it's more important at this time to unite as communities throughout Montana and Wyoming.
The first responders on scene also working through what they witnessed.
We've all been there for each other. Talked about it, cried together.
We do have some of the top critical incident debriefing teams in the state of Wyoming. We are moving forward to make sure that we take care of them in the best fashion possible and give them our utmost support for the sacrifices they've made, which don't always include physical injuries. A lot of times they're injuries of the heart.
Once again, man, just absolute most tragic, horrible news. I just can't believe a mother doing this once again. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but man, and that was that deputy there. Again, 17 years at the sheriff's office. I work in crime scenes, and you don't ever expect anything like this. And again, she references clearing the home. She went back to the little girl who was actually still alive and administered first aid to her and stood with her until EMS arrived and took her and continued aid. And listen, like I said, I know it's going to sound insensitive or whatever, and you see this community is just shaken. The mayor is talking about not dwelling and moving on. I don't know that people will ever, like, I don't know. I mean, this just happened, so I don't know that anyone's really dwelling on anything. I just think, such a small, this is something insane to happen anywhere. Do you get what I'm saying? But in a small community where they probably don't even have really crime, period. I mean, 600 people, this is like, but you hear it. 3 of the girls were found deceased after being SHOT. The 4th, age 7, remains hospitalized in Salt Lake City. There's 2 GoFundMes from both fathers. Again, we got one more clip. The fathers are going to talk. One father is currently married, was currently married. Not to sound insensitive, but I'm shocked that they just didn't say, hey, let's try to keep these kids alive, as 2 of them were alive. And, one ended up life expired. It seems that the one child that's made it is put into a medical coma, swelling in the brain, I believe. And I pray to God that this little girl makes it. You hear all this stuff about mental illness, and you're going to hear that from the 2 fathers as well. The husband, I don't know if he was at the hospital, or I don't know if he was at work or what, but I don't know. It seems she definitely did show some signs of mental illness or whatever, but to do something like this again is just purely evil, just because you have issues, mental problems. This is just not excusable. It's sickening, but let me close this out. Again, anyone out there struggling, or you've seen someone who is struggling and maybe they made comments or just someone that you're really worried about, get them help. I'm not saying everyone out there who has mental illness or stress or whatever the case may be is going to do something like this, but get help the people you love. It seems like since the whole sickness happened back in 2020, society, I don't want to say broke, but everything just changed in a lot of ways. And I feel like a lot of people just kind of never recovered. Time has blown by so fast. It just feels like we're living in another world, in another reality or something like that. But I just don't mean to sound harsh or mean, but this is just sick, disgusting, disturbing, in my opinion. Mother of 4 hurt her 4 babies, 3 of them deceased, 1 fighting to live. And once again, because of the way the 911 call went, and they had to clear the house and had to approach it from a tactical aspect, vital time, vital moments was wasted, that could have went to saving the other baby that was still alive. This story just seems unreal. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. But here is that final clip I have for you guys with both the fathers speaking out. Again, the one is her husband. Stay tuned for updates. Subscribe to the channel. True crime content as well as other crime content and everything. You know, the whole idea over here is to talk with the people about these different topics. But man, this is evil. Mental illness or not, how could she do this to her babies? Here's that clip. And I will put both of the GoFundMe links in the comments.
They were amazing. They were lights to the world.
Cliff Harshman's world will never be the same. In a matter of hours, he lost his wife, his 2-year-old daughters, Brooke and Jordan, and their half-sibling, Braylee.
This was something beyond what I can even comprehend.
Harshman is trying to find answers to questions he'll likely never have answers to. Specifically, the why. Why his wife of 5 years would try to murder the 4 little girls he says she adored.
I don't even know how to explain this to you. I'm so angry for the decision that was made.
Harshman says his wife Trinielle was battling depression and PTSD and was receiving therapy.
People don't understand how mental illness isn't just a willpower thing. It's chemical imbalances in your brain. She was an incredible mom. She loved those kids.
While Cliff knows many will never understand his conflicting emotions, there is one man who does.
There's no textbook, there's no playbook, there are very few people that have gone through this.
Quinn Blackmer is the father of the 9 and 7-year-old girls who were shot. His eldest, Braylee, was killed. 7-year-old Olivia is in a Salt Lake City hospital still fighting for her life.
I'm furious. I'm trying my hardest to bury that for a while and focus on the now, because that anger's not going to bring my child back.
Olivia, currently sedated, is about to be placed into a deep coma to alleviate swelling in her brain. She's been responsive to some touch.
It makes all of us here very, very optimistic that things are trending forward.
But Quinn knows there's a long road ahead. He hasn't left her side, trying to care for her, while also still mourning the loss of Braylee.
They're peas in a pod. I mean, you describe one, for the most part, you describe the other. They're the kids that you want.
I haven't come to grips yet with the fact that they're gone.